Hi guys, so this week we're working on our mandalas. I hope you've got some great patterns in mind, and at this point you should have some prep work. You've looked at the mandalas, you've drawn some sketches of what your basic shape looks like, and you've practiced some different patterns that might fit in those shapes. Now it's time to create your mandala. This is going to be a long process. It should take you some time, but take your time, use materials to help you make accurate marks and make a really neat meditative mandala. This is something that you can then use when you need to relax and you look at, and it should be really fun and relaxing to actually create. Okay, so let's get started. You need to have a few supplies with you. First of all, you have your sketches, okay? I did mine all on one sheet of paper. This is my prep. I have my outline ideas here, basic shapes, and then I have some different pattern ideas within that. So then I can start laying those down together. Today, let's try working on, I really like this one right here, and it's kind of complicated, so I want to show you how you make those shapes. If you wanted to make one that is more circular like that, you would just simply use some objects to help you make circles, okay? So we have some different circle things available. All right, what you need, blank paper. So you set that aside so you can look at it and you get your blank paper out. You need a ruler or a straight edge, right? We don't always have a ruler around, but straight edges work. The edge of a book, okay? The edge of a book here. This one would be good because you would have marks to let you know how far out you're doing your marks. Okay, if you don't have that, a folder would work. You can use that as a straight edge to help you make your straight lines. You can create your own ruler on cardstock. Maybe you got an old card in the mail. An envelope. An envelope would be great that hasn't been opened yet, or the edge that hasn't been opened, and you can use that. So we'll need scissors, okay, because we're going to cut this into a square. Whatever you're doing, it should be in a square. And then we need some things to make circles, okay? So I brought in a few different things to make circles. I have a can. Everybody has cans around. That makes great circles. Here's the old cardboard tubing of tape, and then you can use the inner or the outer. That would give you a nice little midline. Here is a Pokemon coin, okay, so that gives you a smaller one. We just had Easter. Eggs. There's a couple circles, okay, so that would be something else you can make circles with. A cup. A cup gives you two different ones. It's narrower and wider here. So that would give you two different circle sizes there. Okay, and then if you want to get even bigger, I have the can that holds my colored pencils, cream cheese containers, yogurt containers, anything like that. You can find some things that make bigger ones. Bigger paint cans. Look around your house, find some different things to help you make nice round circles, okay? So I'm going to set my circles aside, my round things, and I'm going to move my colored pencils. I was working on another drawing, so I have my colored pencils here. All right, always drawing, always creating. Now, as a working potter, oh, mugs, another great thing. Cups, bowls, make the big wide circles. I happen to have a little divider. These are kind of pricey, and I use it for my ceramics, so that might not be something you have around you, but you might have compasses, okay? That can help you. All right, so we want to decide, I set a 5" by 5" minimum, so I find those markings on my ruler. I'm going to do it bigger than that because I can use this whole page, okay? Make a nice big one. 8½, right? So there's the 8½ mark. To make it square, let's go out this way, 8½. So I line it up on the edge, make it straight. One way you can make it straight is put this line on the 8½. Okay, so right there it says 8½. I have the edge lined up, and I'm going to mark right there, not at the edge of my ruler because that's not 8½, but the 0 mark. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to line it up with the edge of my paper here. I'm going to line up my 0 and I'm gonna go take it out to 8.5. Okay, so that makes 8.5. I use my straight edge and I make a line. This is the part we're not gonna use. Okay, you don't need to mark it up. You can use it to do your color choices. You can make a bookmark out of it. Zen doodle it. Okay, gives us a piece of paper to work with. All right, so that one we're not going to use, but you can draw on it, make your own little Zentangle bookmark. All right, so I have a square sheet of paper, at least 5 inches by 5 inches. Mine is 8.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I chose the design I'm going to make. I'm going to start with the middle circle. Okay, so I'm going to make a little circle in the middle. How do I find the middle of my paper? Let's do this. 8.5 divided by 2 to find the middle is 4.25. Okay, so, or 4 1/4. So I find the 4 1/4 mark, make a little mark there. I'm going to come back on it this side, find the 4 1/4 mark, and I can narrow in on the middle there. Okay, so if I make a line, let's even do it this way, 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 this way. And I'm trying to make my ruler straight here. If I have it like this, I'm not going to find a straight line. So if I want to switch it around, line my ruler up on the edge, line it up on the 0, making sure the same amount of edge is sticking out on that side. So it's 8.5 and 0, and then 4 1/4 is my middle. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper, makes it easier. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my edge, line up my 0 here, my 8.5 here, and find 4 1/4. And let's do it one more time. I'm going to turn my paper. So I have my ruler in front of me. Line it up on the edge. Line up my 0, line up my 8.5, find my 4 1/4. Okay, now lightly, remember, don't press too hard here because we're going to erase these lines. I'm going to very gently and lightly draw a line across, and then draw another line across this way, and I found the middle. Okay, now along those middle marks, let's make some. I'm going to line it up on my 4 this time. I think you'll see why. So I lined it up on my middle line, and I've got my 4 right on there. I'm going to make 1/2 inch marks down my line. This helps me keep my circles right in the middle. Okay, so I'm lining it up on the 4, on the line, 1/2 inch marks up here, so I can help find evenly spaced middle marks. Okay, all right, so I've got my basic lines to help me. If you have graph paper, you can do it, but then you can't erase the graph paper on there. My first one, I want to be a small circle in the middle. So that's where these lines are coming in handy. I'm going to make sure it's the same distance all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to hold that firmly. Once I've decided that I like where it is, I'm going to hold it very firmly, very lightly drawing my circle so I don't push my marker around. Okay, so there I have my first circle. Now I don't want these inner lines, so I'm going to go erase them because I don't need them there anymore. So let's get them out of there. Okay, so there's my first circle, just like this. Now I need another circle a little distance apart. Okay, and I might add more as I go, but I need another circle that is, oh, let's see if that one is that distance. Okay, let's do the same distance across, same diameter as this one. So let's measure it. This circle's diameter, which is the distance from one end of the circle to the other, right through the middle, is I like millimeters better, but this one doesn't have millimeters. 1 3/8. So it's 1 3/8. So I'm going to do 1 3/8. Is that right? 1 3/8. Yeah, 1 3/8 out here. So 1, 2, 3 out this way. This is where that next circle is going to go. So 1 3/8 out this way. So measuring and being precise is what's going to make your mandala beautiful. Okay. 1 3/4. You guys should have read that and researched that a little bit, and that is the precision that lets your mind order things. Okay, so I have those marks there. Okay, all the way around. They are close to ones that we already had. Now I'm going to try to find a circle that's going to work with that. And if that's all I have and I don't have anything bigger, that's okay. All right, so this one's closest so far. Looking around to see. I didn't bring an assortment of cups out, but I do have the soap pump, and that is going to be maybe closer to what I want. Okay, so you can either line it up, make sure it's about the same. Oh, I don't see the mark on that side, so I'm going to move it over a little. It's kind of filling that area up. You should just barely see my mark on any side, and then that looks like I have it even. Okay, so then I'm going to just gently, slightly larger than my circle, which I think is better than slightly under, but it's up to you. And it doesn't really matter, okay? The other way you can do it is you can try to freehand it and go there and there. But you can measure out 1 3/8 all the way around, okay? And then that would help you. You just have to put a lot of little dots. You could also just find something that's approximately the size you want. And then on that one, I don't want to have those inner marks either, so I'm going to erase those. So that's why I draw lightly. So I don't want those inner marks. I do want to put some other marks in there later, but I don't want those. Okay, so you're just going to keep drawing. This is going to take a while. I'm going to lay it out for you here, and then you can add your patterns, which is the fun part. All right, now I need another one out here, and this one's kind of funky, and I can change how that looks, but I might measure around and do some markings to help myself figure out where it's going to go. So if I do, this is kind of on the center line, and then a mark there on the center line. So I have that center line there. I have all my circles over here. Okay, make one. Okay. So I have that out here, and if I want to put one more, maybe I'll make that one a little narrower. Oh, that could work. Let's see, I have 2 1/8 out there. So what if I make that one 3/4 of an inch and make a mark? And then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch and make a mark. 3/4 of an inch and make a mark. And then what I think I'm going to do as well, I don't think I did one there either. So all 4 sides, and then I'm going to go from the corner to corner. So my ruler can go across, make sure your straight edge can go all the way across. And then let's do a little line there to help us. Oh, I should have done that side too. So once I have it lined up, corner to corner, you can check and make sure it's through your middle dot. I can still kind of see mine there, so I've got it. And I'm just putting some markings out that way. This is why it's nice to start out with a square rather than a rectangle. All right, so that's good. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to do that 3/4 of an inch here. But I also might want to mark it another 1/2 inch out, so let's do that. So I did 3/4 and then add a 1/2, so it's 1 1/4. So 1 1/4, go out 1, 2, 3, and an extra 1/2. 1 1/4, out 1, 2, 3/4, and a 1/2 inch. Who said art doesn't use math? Okay, so I have some markings all the way around, and I'm trying to do these rounded things here. So it looks like, oh, and the other thing I need to do is I can go across here, and I'm trying to make my ruler even. Okay, and if I need to, I could bring it over here. And then I'm going to go over, I'm going to line it up on the 4 again. You can check to make sure my ruler's even. And I'm going to come out a 1/2 inch on either side. So I'm going to make those marks. I'm doing this so that my marks are the same on every side. This is how you get a nice even picture. So I'm at the 3/4 mark, and I'm going to do a 1/2 inch on either side of it. So I have that. So that's what this little lump here, this bump, I'm going to take it up to this one. Do I have that everywhere? I don't. So that's the other thing I can do. Let's go up a 1/2 inch. Oh, I see. So let's see. Do I want to do it here? So I'm going to go 1/2 inch bumps. Take it out and bring it back in, giving myself those guidelines, okay? From the 1/2 inch mark and that 3/4 inch mark. Had something, eraser marks underneath. If you don't like it, erase it. Draw lightly so that you can erase it. So those look good. I'm trying to get them all. This one's a little more flat on the top. And then we'll take it from here out to my taller mark. And then the taller mark back down, down here, back up. So I'm going away from my pattern a little bit, and I can go back in and I can change that, or I can keep it. So that's looking good. Got some petal marks. It's a little different. These don't connect down there. So if I wanted to change that, I can. Let's do it a 1/2 inch up. Maybe a 1/4 inch. Where they're connecting. And just give them some space. So then I need to mark that on each one of those. I'm going to take it up a 1/4 inch. And we're going to connect them down to that and then back up. So that's something you can decide before you do it. Erasing all those extra marks. So we're going to go through and do each one of those. Okay, so I have a really good start to my 3rd row. So I've got one, well, that's what it could be, 1, 2, 3, and I've got one more row I want to add, and it's going to have lots of triangles on it. So I have to decide how far out those triangles are going to go and measure them out on each one of these lines. That's going to look pretty cool. And how wide they're going to be. So I think I'm going to take them from the end there. Look how pretty that design is. How fun. The next thing we're going to do is figure out which patterns are going to go in where. I think I'm going to do these little circle within circles. It's kind of a fun thing. So I want to find some more little circles. I wish I had one of those tools. Okay, so I went and got some coins so that I can figure out the sizes that I'd like to go in there. So I'm going to use the quarter. I'm going to line it up on that edge. And then I gently draw a circle around it. And then I line it up on this edge. And do that. And then I want one more smaller one. Just draw one. So I have a circle within a circle within a circle. Now you can finish that out as much as you want before you move on to the next one.